Good evening, this is your Psychic LJ reporting from the United Kingdom. Is anybody there? Knock once for yes, twice for no. Hello, hello, hello. It is underground. It is 11:12 p.m. UK time. Heading towards the witching hour. Is anybody there? Hiya, Franco. Good evening. Hiya, Louis. Nice to meet you. Hello, everybody. Juniper. Good evening in Washington State. How's everybody doing? Hello there, Retta. And for the love of fairies, good evening. Hello, everybody. This is live, the underground from Newcastle upon Tyne. We're going to delve deep tonight. Good evening in Denmark. Good morning in Australia. Hiya, Lance. How's everybody? It's pretty strange times we're living in, isn't it? I've got my crystal ball. I'll just turn my phone off. Oh. Get ready for this. Get ready to rumble. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you all are around the world. We're going to delve deep tonight. We are going to look into global events. And we're just going to go with the flow and see what comes. Good morning in Japan. What's the weather like over there? It's been rather glorious over here in the UK. Are you in Newcastle, Callie? It's been rather a nice day, hasn't it? Hiya, Rick. So, where do we start? We wait for a few more to come on. And before I start, for new people who are watching this, I invoke all the angels in. It's a bit like coming to a spiritualist church for everybody to get together, like a safe little forum. And I invoke all the angels in for healing for everybody who needs it. Good evening, Bjorn. And you can write the name of the person or the animal or any situation that you want, and you will receive healing. It's timeless, and I've done some Reiki stuff before I've come online, so you will receive healing. So we're going to look into stuff, and I think I'll go with a crystal ball tonight, and we'll see what's happening. You're not needing much sleep there, Garrity? Hello there in Sweden. Yeah, the weather's changing. We're coming into spring. Oh, do you like my t-shirt? Thank you. Okie dokie, let's start. Let's start with the invocation of my angels, and our angels, should I say, Earth's angels, and I want to say heaven's angels, which are here for Earth. It's very, very strange at the minute, isn't it? So let's start. I invoke Archangel Michael, I invoke Archangel Michael, I invoke Archangel Michael. I invoke Archangel Uriel, I invoke Archangel Uriel, I invoke Archangel Uriel. I invoke Archangel Raphael, I invoke Archangel Raphael, I invoke Archangel Raphael. I invoke Archangel Gabriel, I invoke Archangel Gabriel, I invoke Archangel Gabriel. I ask my spirit guides, Jed, White Buffalo, Running Star, Lady Direwolf, E2I, to come forth to give us true answers tonight and to guide us in this circle of light. May we begin. And if any star beings want to come forward to give us true answers, or anybody from the elementals, the fairy realm, the animal kingdom, to come forth tonight. Let's begin. Amen. Okie dokie. Right. Now, in one of my last wheel predictions, I did say that watch, I don't know if it was on here or it was one of the ones on a Sunday behind the scenes in Twitch. I did say watch for Tucker Carlson with Twitter with Elon Musk. And that's happened today, hasn't it? It's all starting to unfold. Everything's starting to unfold. And everything, as you know, is all 3D on this planet, but we're living in 3D. We are living in 3D. We are experiencing stuff out of 3D because we are spiritually evolving. What happened with Twitter? I believe, I don't know the full ins and outs, that Tucker's going in with Musk into Twitter. So that's pretty good, isn't it? Just about an hour ago it was announced. So we're going to look into world events, not just to do with America. We're going to look as much as we can, far as we can. It's also been Memorial Day over in Russia today. I don't know if anybody's seen the marching over there. So yeah, it's and Putin made quite a spectacular announcements he did. So it's a very strange times we're living in. Tucker's definitely going on Twitter, yes. So I just think it's very strange, and I think it's going to be all about rituals and everybody gathering together. There is an energy shift happening at the moment. I do believe that. I really, really do. And I do believe that we as a collective can all come together and we can help to raise this vibration on Earth as well. No matter what side you bat on political sides or whatever you think religiously, we can all come together. And we've proven that in this group, that we can all come together. And it's about New Earth. It's about taking everything out of it, blank canvas, and for us to look within. And that's what it's about. That's definitely what it's about. Hi to all mothers out there. Thank you, Royal Apple. It's not Mother's Day, is it, over there? Or is that just something you like to say? That's nice. Oh, we've got a new subscriber in, thank you, California. Or is it Thelma from California? You can also subscribe if you want to my Twitch or to Discord, which is free. Twitch is into it. There's 3 different subscriptions, but you get us behind the scenes and you also get us on a Sunday night. And but I'll pull out as much as I can, and you've got something coming out tomorrow night as well. Okay, I've clipped something from last Sunday, which you'll be getting for people who haven't seen it. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a channeling of a being, okay, which I think is like that. So yeah, it's before I start, I want to say, with King Charles getting crowned, okay, I want to say this. We are all kings and queens in our own right. We are all kings and queens. And it's about, and I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I just want to say that tonight I want to place a crown on every one of your heads. And that we are all important. Nobody's above anybody. Nobody is below anybody. And I've always said that the royal family isn't going to go down. It's going to carry on. Like with all this movement, what happened a few years ago with the truth community, and they said, oh, it's going to go down and all this. And I said, no. I knew it was going to go ahead, Charles's coronation. I also covered that on Twitch. So if you do subscribe, you can see all the other stuff that I've done. But what I want to say is that it was a ritual, but it wasn't, I don't believe it was a dark ritual. I do believe it was a very spiritual ritual. There wasn't animal substance in the anointing oils, as you know. There was all aromatherapy oils and stuff like that, and that's the first time in history that's happened. That's the first time in history that's happened. And I said, watch for more rituals come in, and I just feel it's the uprising. We are all spiritually evolving, and I do believe we can shift this. Moon Fairy's a mum to her dog. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. So I just think that I don't believe Charles is going to be on the throne long, but very interesting. And I also covered, which I can't say too much, right? But I did cover about how it was interesting that Trump was in the UK and Biden wasn't. Trump was on Scottish soil and Irish soil, and I thought that was interesting. And I think there was a shift. All I'm going to say is that there was a shift. I felt it on Friday night. A lot of people did as well. And it was an energy shift, and it was over the Scorpio full moon thing as well. But it was Friday night, early hours of Saturday morning. There was a massive shift. So remember, we are all magicians. We are all magicians, and we can shift this. It's not about looking at governments. It's not about looking at kings and queens. It's we can admire and we can look, but at the end we can support. But at the end of the day, it's about us not feeding into the anger, not feeding into the hatred, and it's about just rising above it and just agreeing to disagree is the word. We are all alchemists, yes, definitely. We are all definitely all magicians, and because we are spirit beings, we are magical beings. I don't think, well, it's not Mother's Day over here. I hope not, because no, it's not Mother's Day over here. So I do believe that some people are very stuck in the past, and everything what's happened, with there's a divide in the UK. People are angry, like they'll say, oh, well, it's not my queen, or it's not, Camilla isn't my queen, it should have been Diana, but that was the past. And also you've got, it's like people are stagnant, everyone's on different levels. Yeah, but I predict that when the next election comes off, which is going to be a corker, by the way, it's going to be a right corker, I believe there'll be people afterwards. You can't please everybody. There'll be people afterwards and they'll be saying the same thing, like, well, that's not my president. Do you know what I mean? It's times we're living in, and it's a reflection of what we are going through, is we're all on different levels of ascension. I do believe that. That's where we are at now. And I don't believe the media helps. I really, really don't, because things get twisted as well. So it's about us using discernment. It's about us looking within. And it's a free will world. It's a free will world. Oh, thank you, Debbie. There's a lot of tension at the moment, isn't there? Because everybody's waiting for things to happen. And it's usually when you let it go, that's when it happens. But I did cover it all, and if you want to check it all out and all the exclusive stuff, I'm on Twitch if you want to do that. And I went really deep into Charles, I went really deep into Biden, I went really deep into Trump, and yeah, that's what I do over there. But let's get ready to rumble. Let's see what's going on. Oh, thank you, Joyce. Let's have a look. Don't forget, I've got friends in here, okay? I've got friends on both sides of the political spectrum in America. People say, well, why do you go on about America all the time? But you've got to understand, when I first opened the YouTube channel, right, I was doing house parties, and it was one video a week I was doing. And I was coming in, and I was posting at, say, 11 o'clock at night, and I was hitting an American audience because the UK, the Brits were in bed. giving it Zs. So I accumulated an American audience. Okay, it wasn't planned that way, just the way it happened. If you really knew us, you'd know that I'm a night owl. Do you know what I mean? So I just think that we're at that place now where I've ended up with a load of Democrats and a load of Republicans following us. And it's just because I'm different. It's just because I just feel that the world should not be divided. We should all be together. It's the same as the UK. I've got Labour people following us and Tories following us and just everybody who just really wants to know the truth and everybody who is hurting, because we've been hurting so much. Yeah, we've been, everything what's happened over the last 2 years. And it's about we're all coming together and that's what healing is. That's how churches were formed and communities were formed, and for we're all to be together and support each other. But I just feel very, very strongly that I don't believe Charles is going to be in for long. But when I say that, it could be a couple of years. I really don't know. But I just know that he's there to play his part for what he's doing. But things are going to get very interesting. All right? Unlike his mother, who kept out of politics, he's going to get into it. So watch this space, okay? Watch this space, because I think he will try to have a lot to say on stuff. Because everybody's changing in the world, all the countries are changing, and the UK will change as well. You're trying to get a level 2 hype train. Okay. Anybody who doesn't know what a hype train is, it's when you get a lot of people coming on Twitch. We get hype trains. Okay. Right, so let's see what's going on. And I'm going to do the best I can for you tonight. Now remember, I can't ask the bold questions. I just go, hiya, Georgina. I just go with it. So I'll not be able to I can't ask the bold questions. So I've just got to go with my visions. So I'll not be able to read the chat, so apologies there. Okie dokie. Let's see what we can see. Okay, so everything what's happening on the news at the minute, what's happened with Trump with this case with Jean Carroll, I believe that I think things have got a little bit twisted. You know what I mean? I believe that Debbie was telling us that he wasn't guilty on one thing, but he was found guilty on something else. It was something to do with character or something. But you're going to have a lot of this. They're going to be trying a lot of things with him between now and next year. Okay? This year is going to be one hell of a roller coaster. I've just seen his son, Don Jr., bounce out of this crystal ball, so I feel announcements. And when there's announcements, when Don Jr. is saying something, round about that time there could be something to do with a crash in the market or problems with money. But I'm not saying that all the banks are going to go down. I've never felt that. I just feel that some banks will fall, some banks won't. Remember, we're going through a shift here. We're definitely going through a shift. I'm very drawn to New York as I look into this crystal ball tonight. And I just get something coming out about New York politically. Who's the governor of New York? Who signed his name in black? Interesting. Okay, so who's the governor of New York? Does anybody know? Because I'm just getting some big news coming up around that area. And watch for new faces. All right, watch for new faces. Okie dokie. Who's Hochul? strange. Okay, just waiting for it to haze over. I also covered this with me channeling, which you'll see tomorrow night, when I channel this frogman being, okay, called Bio. And he came through and he was talking about changes on Earth, what's to come, and it's all to do with crazy weather. And I do feel we're going to experience some stormy weather this year. I don't know when it's hurricane season. Is that around about October time over in the US? Hurricane season, or around the Caribbean and that. But I just think that there's great floods to come, problems. And I'm getting the letter B or D. Now, I don't know if that's to do with a place or an area, or it could be a town. Okay, so possibly watch for that as well. So there is a fault line. And it's like it's rumbling underneath the sea. But it's like, I want to say like Mother Gaia's, she knows this. It's a fault line. She doesn't want it. Not that she doesn't want it talked about. She doesn't want the hype of it to make the situation worse, because she's trying to heal. There's many ley lines on Earth and there's many faults on Earth. There's many ley lines on Earth and there's many faults on Earth. But she knows that there's going to be water's going to rise, and there could be something to do with a tsunami or water, but that's more to do with around island, or something to do with islands. There's also a network of undercover, as you know, like criminal activity, what's been going on around this world, okay? And it's as if that there's something what's being blocked or stopped. There's some huge operation at the minute what's going off. I mean, obviously this will possibly never be proven what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what I'm saying. As I speak, I see some big operation going off at the minute, and it's to do with tunnels. It's actually happening at the moment, and they're like the good guys are blocking them. There's a lot of like mafia and cabal operations going on out there, and I've always said this, it's like they come off the tentacles from corporations and that. I'm also very drawn to in the where the polar bears are. Is that the North Pole? It's not the South Pole, is it? The North Pole? And I see worry to do with an iceberg and some problems what could cause rising of water. So watch for that as well. And if that doesn't come off now, it'll come off by the end of the year. I've got something interesting. Record deal or record label. There's something to happen globally, and it could cause like, I don't know if it's to do with a food shortage, or because I've covered this before, to do with grain, with everything what happened in Ukraine, or it's to do more globally, coming in from the Middle East as well. But there's going to be, on a scale, you know how you had like in the 80s, you had that song, Feed the World. It's like something like that, where a lot of singers are getting together, but there's something else coming off, and there's going to be a big record label with this, but it's after an event. And it is a real event. It really, really is. But it's as if you've got, I've said this before, above, you know, like the people who are controlling, above, the controllers. It's as if they know that this has to break this whole system. And they're trying to make it as smooth as possible, but you still have the bad players at play here. You really, really do. And so sometimes operations and events go off, and they make this happen. The darker side makes this happen. But sometimes the lighter side also makes it happen, or not makes it happen, allows it to happen. Because not all timelines you can change. if you know what I mean. Not all timelines you can change. And sometimes for an event to happen, it then puts everything into place for the new technology to come in and that. You need to keep your eye on Musk. And I think that there's going to be some, and I did say this a few weeks, that there's going to be some big announcements coming in with him. So obviously Tucker's just gone in, but there's more big announcements coming. And I see him getting into I don't know if it's something he's doing with Twitter where he's making it into like a forum, something like YouTube or something like that, where you can download videos and that. Or it's something else he's going to go into, like a news network. That is coming through really strong, unless it's a section what's coming off from Twitter. So remember that. And I want to say the next 2 to 3, I don't know if it's 2 to 3 weeks, more like 2 to 3 months, that'll be announced. So watch for that. Fox Glacier mints, yeah, I used to like them. Okay. What else are we getting? So I did cover this the last time I was on, and I talked about there could be worries with the meat industry, because this is part of the corporation as well, the food industry. And what I'm fearing here as I look into this crystal ball, there could be problems with farmers with meat. All right. The question is, there's like a darker side of life what's trying to want that to happen. Yeah, it's all about control. But organic farming's coming in very strong. Organic farming. People are going to get more into organic farming. But there could be a problem to do with certain countries with trade. Say like over here we get like New Zealand lamb and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be a case that it's more about we're going back to our own lands and having our own farms. That's what I'm feeling. But there's what they've got here is that the old bridge of economy is falling, the trade is falling, and then there's going to be like a new bridge of economy. I don't know if this is coming in from BRICS or it's coming in from a different section, right? What the others are going to do, okay? But it's Africa's going to come in on this, and there's going to be a new bridge of economy, and I predict that there'll be a bridge of economy between the UK and the USA. Between the UK and the USA. I'm just saying Australia here. Let me have a look. Watch for more floods coming around the New Zealand area. I want to send healing and blessings out there. And we're going to experience some crazy biblical weather this year, guys. We really, really are. Like something you would see in a movie. Like crazy thunderstorms and that. The veil is so thin. The question is it natural or not? The question is it natural or not? So a lot of us are going to start to see a lot of strange sightings in the sky this year. I'm seeing smoke on hills, and it looks like it's over the Afghanistan area or the Middle East. I see more problems, and I see this hitting on world news. And I'm also seeing problems to do with refugees, and they're all coming in over borders. There's going to be some global event or situation. And I feel like I need to send healing and blessings out that way. But as I'm going up into the hills and the mountains over the Middle East, and I'm seeing the Taliban, and there's problems. And I hope to God this is not right what I'm saying, right? These are visions that I'm seeing. But I'm seeing a problem to do with the plane in the sky. And they're giving us terrorist attack here. So, where is it? Let's hope this doesn't happen. This timeline doesn't happen. Or is it, it could be something to do with the grid, problems with the grid, which could affect airports. I see lots of airplanes on the ground not being able to take off. And I see people stuck in airports and it's hot. So when I get a vision, sometimes I can read like a year out. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean it's this summer, it could be next summer. But I normally look on no more than 2 years. Like a couple of years ago, I had said I couldn't understand in China where I could see all those kiosks. And there was kiosks, I did say this about 4 or 5 years ago, I said it, that there would be people running around with masks on. And then it would start in China and it would go global. Right? So this situation, what I'm saying here is, it's something to do with an event what takes off. And it's like trapping people, but it's also affecting trade. And it's got a special name and it begins with C. And I'm not sure if it's T or L. Don't know what that is. But it's a situation where nobody can move about. People are stuck in their countries. They're stuck. I'm seeing like sort of people getting upset in airports and that. It's got something to do with the dollar. It's got something to do with money and economy or the system. Let me pull some cards out on this. Strange one. Well, we'll be all right. I just think it's it's the old system falling, the new system building. I've just seen hypersonic trains there. There's going to be a lot of them. What's going to come into play? I know they've got them in Japan, I believe, but there's going to be more of them. I don't know if China's got them, but a lot of hypersonic trains. A lot of people travelling by train more than air. Oh my God! I wonder if they're going to trying to get rid of the planes. Let's have a look. Got a jumper. Whatever it is, it's something what is being brought on purpose. Because when the magician card comes out, it means that it's something what shouldn't be happening. But like I said before, sometimes negative things happen, but it brings good in the end. Does that make sense? So as Lance's just said here, I've got another subscriber, welcome in. If internet and grid goes down, air traffic systems will fail. So that could be too. True. Okay. So it's a global thing and it's got something to do with travel and movement about. That's the feeling I'm getting. I don't, unless it's coming in from solar flares or whatever, I really don't know, but it's something what's stopping something. And it could cause a temporary pause or a loss. So the 5 is a loss, but it's something to do with money as well. So as I'm saying this, people have asked us about, will Putin cause World War III or China cause World War III? And I'm not saying nuclear, not in this event or this situation. I'm saying it could be something to do with frequency attack or something to take the grid down. But what you've got to understand is where there's a negative thing, there's a reset happening behind the scenes, as Aura K says. So if we do have a temporary situation, I want to say just prep if you can. I don't believe it would be the whole globe in complete darkness. I don't mean that. I just believe that we could have intermittent power problems. I'm also feeling as well, water's coming up very strong this year. So it's all about water. There's the man treading in a flood, but there'll also be, in places around the world, there'll be lack of water, or there'll be limitations of water over the summer period. That's what I'm being shown. Okay. I'm going to give you some numbers. 15. These are dates. 19, 24, 25 and 21. I've got this vision of people getting sacks and sacks of food or stocking up, and they're being told to do this. And people with tickets or something, or like a invoice or something. I'm getting Ukraine as well. There's more attacks to go there. There's more stuff to happen. But I've always said, like, in the end, it's gonna be like Putin's taking back part of his land. And the strangest thing is, I've had this for a while, but it's not put out on world news. My guides are showing Putin and Zelensky shaking hands. Wouldn't it be really strange if they were really shaking hands? I know. I haven't got a generator. Mystery's just saying here, it would be awful if I couldn't connect with Louise. You can get certain things where you can charge them up in the garden and it can run your computers and stuff like that. Communist coupons for food. It's more like emergency coupons. It's temporary. And I'll get the letter F, X. Like ration tickets. But what's going to be a shortage is going to be flour, rice. Because rice normally comes in from China, doesn't it? Doesn't come in from anywhere else, does it? Or Japan. These are things that we need to store. Cooking oil. I'm not going to say toilet roll because that's ridiculous. But, not everybody can prep. It's more like certain foods we will have a shortage. And grains coming up here very, very strong. Grains coming up. It's going to be a problem with grain. Let me see what that is. Vinegar. Vinegar's a good thing to have in your larder cupboard, isn't it? White vinegar. You can clean with white vinegar. I think I might get some white vinegar and do my kitchen again because I've got a white kitchen. So if you're using certain disinfectants which are coloured, some of the disinfectants are coloured. And I think I'm going to stop doing all of that because of the chemicals. You get like a smear on your white cupboards. But white vinegar brings it all up sparkly. I did have a book somewhere where you could make your own disinfectant with rosemary, certain herbs you put in, and it's good for sterilising your benches and stuff like that. White vinegar, yeah. White vinegar and lemon. I think I might do that tomorrow, actually. Rice comes from Thailand, does it? I'm getting that song. If we could turn back time, but we can't. I think it's going to be a woo-woo night tonight, guys. I really, really do. It's going to be a woo-woo night. It's as if we've been stuck in some sort of time warp. Yeah? It's as if that everything that we're being held back from, the technology is going to come forward. And have you not noticed, guys, that time's going really, really fast? It's like you wake up in the morning, you're really, really tired. And everybody goes to bed like I do late, but we're all tired. We're really all tired. It's like they feel like we've lost minutes from hours. Right. That's like the shepherd. That's like the shepherd. Was Jesus a shepherd, or was his family shepherds? He was a shepherd, wasn't he? There's the sun. Our beautiful golden sun, which is now, by the way, it's white. Used to be yellow, but now it's white. Anyway, children of earth. Year of Aquarius, all of that. Something globally, what, I'm not saying it's like Armageddon, but it's something sort of what stops within my tracks. I've always said that there is another pandemic to come. And I don't know if it's another version or what we had in the past, or it's something completely different. There's that, which could be worse than what we had. But this is something else. This is something else. It's got something to do with trade. Jesus was a rabbi. Jesus was wonderful. Just see. Jesus was a superstar. I love jasmine rice. I love that. I like Chinese food. I just can't eat shellfish. Six of Pentacles. It's definitely something to come off within the year, or it could be by this time next year. It's something that they are planning on doing, but they hope it doesn't be too devastating. Why would I say that? They are planning on doing this. It's going to affect the food chain, and it's something to do with global. The cards here are saying 2 years, but I think it'll be less than 2 years. Whatever's taken place has taken place before 2025. There also could be a situation where it could be something what infects wheat or water, which could cause a disease. It could be something like that. Peace will come to Earth, and a cleaner planet, and a fairer planet. There is lots of people coughing again, isn't there? But there's a very high rise of pollen bombs in the air. You know, like they're called pollen bombs. That's what they're called. Like pockets of pollen, and people are getting really ill with allergies and that. But there's a song, and I've talked about this before, and she's called Anuka. She's a Ukrainian artist. She's on YouTube, Anuka. And she sings a song called Time. And I just love that song. And she's got the video to go with it, you know, and it looks very like sort of, it's like something's happened, and they're coming out of they're living in the plains and that, and it's like the new earth, and they're starting again. And I think there's a lot of signs, a lot of signals in this video. It's as if that, you know, there's a guy coming across on a horse with a black gown on. He looks like the Grim Reaper, and he's coming over, and she's got this child with her. So she opens this great big smudging box, and she's smudging him away, and he's trying to burn the Bible in this video. It's just really crazy. It's really crazy. But I get that. I want to say we are the Pleiadians. I want to say we are the Pleiadians. I know that sounds really strange. It's like people have got these Pleiadians that are going to come forth, these star races, that they are going to be, you know, sort of like amazing, and, you know, like they are the aliens and they have it all. Yeah, they've got all the technology, but we're going to have all the technology. They are here and they're going to seep it all in. But they might think we are the aliens. Do you know what I mean? Well, they don't think like that, but we are no different to them. And I do believe that once you start thinking out the box and you start looking at things very spiritually, you are as close as you can be with them. So our DNA is changing. I definitely recommend checking that song out. It's called Time. Peace. They're not going to let it go. They're not going to let it go to do with Donald Trump. They're just going to go on and on and on and on. And yeah. So I just want to say it's exciting times, but scary times. I'm getting that song as well from Christmas. Peace on earth. I'm terrible at singing. Peace on earth, goodwill to men. Look at that. Ace of Swords. And that's what's happened on English soil. He's being crowned. All right. And I've talked about this before. People say, oh, no, it's all wrong and it's all part of the reptilian system and all of this. But actually, right, whilst the crown is in the country, it stops the government taking total full power like communism. It's not like it used to be in the olden days. Do you know what I mean? Okay. And don't forget, Charles is into planting and natural farming without pesticides, organic farming and all of that, which they took the mickey out of him a couple of years ago, like a decade ago or so. But I think he was ahead of his time with everything. Yeah, they're going to go on and on and on with the Trump mystery. They really, really are. It's never ending. And I just think that everyone's playing their part. But you've got good avatars and bad avatars. But they've done a ritual. Everything's a ritual. But the ritual wasn't a bad ritual. I feel that when we witnessed the coronation, one of the biggest witchy rituals ever. It was a ritual with our pomp and the way we are and everything. It was a ritual with all the holy men there with waving that incense about and anointing oils and everything. There's an uprising, and I do believe that there's something trying to take over every country to cause this global control. And we know with certain people who are behind that, like Schwab and people like that. But it goes a bit beyond that. They're just the front men. Behind that is other corporations. And then you've got to think, who's paying these corporations? Who's paying the media? Is these corporations. And that's where we are at the minute. But I'm actually feeling it's going to come tumbling down. I'm not saying tumbling down in an awful way. I just feel a lot of things are going to be exposed. But that does not mean that Trump's going to be back in power. It could be somebody else. But he's playing his part. Putin's playing his part. Charles is playing his part. They're all playing their parts. Now, Biden, I'm going to look into Biden tonight because people have asked us to look in to see if he's going to, like he said, he's going to run again. But I don't believe it's going to, I just don't feel it's going to go through. That's what I feel. There's a feminine energy what's taking place across this planet. It's a beautiful feminine energy. And as I look at that card, I'm getting that song again by Inuka, Time. I wish I could play it now, but you can't play it for copyright, you know. There's going to be, and I mentioned this about community gardens, and I got it in a dream. Spirit showed us it in a dream, and then it gave us an idea. I've talked about it on Twitch, and it may come off this. If it gets really bad and the shit hits the fan, basically, it could be that cities and towns, we will all come together and we'll create like community gardens, which I think is a good idea anyway. People should do it now. There's so much poverty. There's so many people on the breadline. The poverty isn't just going on in Africa, where that's bad, you know, starving kids and that. It's actually going on in our countries as well. People who are working and they can't feed their kids, or they can't pay their heating bills. Because the system did this. The greedy system, what's fallen. Big shocks to come in around a gas company. More stuff to come out on news to do with gas and oil. It's all the heads of the beast fighting. But when I was watching them over in Moscow today, and they were marching, and it was all very glorious in the marching, and they had their bands and everything. And I was looking at the soldiers' faces. They're all young, bonny lads, you know what I mean? Like late teens, early 20s. And I'm a military kid, and I was looking at them, thinking, stepping out and looking at it, and I'm thinking, my God, look how they all look so brainwashed. And it's like, they do it everywhere. It's everywhere. It's war's a money making thing, and it keeps happening all the time. It's every 100 years they've inbuilt this in, that we need to have war. We don't need to have James Big Butch lads. We don't need to have war. You know? And our troops as well. When really it's all these big players who are like calling the shots on things. My concern is tonight that we could face something there where there could be more fatalities. And it could be something to do with I'm not saying it's something again in Ukraine, it could be elsewhere. But it's all to do with greed. And I'm not just speaking my voice, I'm speaking from what my ancestors, your ancestors went through. It needs to stop. And I've talked about this before. I've got a war hero in my family, Uncle Matty. He died in Flanders Fields in the 20s. Yeah, and his grave's over there in France. And he keeps coming through. When I talked about when he rang us from the night of the museum. And I'll tell you it again quickly. It's had a strange phone call in the middle of the night. Just a blank phone. And as I picked up the phone, I was getting Uncle Matty. I could see Uncle Matty. So I put it down. It rang again. And I got the number, and I was ringing it back, and nobody was answering. And I got Uncle Matty coming through with his friends, and they were like singing all the old war songs. And he was saying, we're in trouble. We are in trouble. It's going to happen again. And it needs to stop. But I've had this feeling when I was talking to Matty, because obviously Matty's in spirit. Death isn't even what we think it is. It's as if he said, we're in another timeline. So what does that mean? We're experiencing in physical that our loved ones are dying. But I still say this as a medium, there's life after life. Are we just exiting this flesh body, and we're going off into another timeline? and the channel that I did the other night, which you're going to get to see tomorrow, he talked about that we are all in, the Frogman told us that we are all in Atlantis. We're all in Atlantis. So anyway, the next morning I rang the number and a caretaker answered. And I said, somebody rang me from this number last night 3 times. And he went, no, he says, that's not possible, Henny. It's like a proper Geordie. That's not possible, Henny. He says, I'm the only one with the keys. He says, there's nobody else has got the keys. I'm sorry, he says, are you sure? I says, yeah, somebody rang. He says, it must have been the ghosts, wasn't it? And he was laughing. And I says, do you mind us asking where it is? And he says, oh, it's a museum, it's shut down. And I says, what kind of museum? And he said, a World War I museum. A World War I museum. And it was a bizarre week, because then I got Jasper come through, who Matty often comes in. I never knew Matty. I just feel, how do you have this yourself, guys, where you have an ancestor that you really feel that you've got a connection with, even though you never knew them physically. Yeah, you feel like you really are part of their soul family. Because that's what I feel like with Uncle Matty. And my Uncle Matty, my youngest son, is the double of Uncle Matty. And Adam, that's my youngest son, was born on 11th of the 11th, Remembrance Day. And when he was 2, he was playing on the mat with his little soldiers. And I said, what you doing, darling? He says, I'm killing the Nazis, Mum. A 2-year-old coming out with something like that. That's something else. Children can remember their past lives because they're not indoctrinated by this society. So then Jasper started to come through. Matty brought him through. So Jasper died in Auschwitz. And Jasper was a Jewish man, and he wrote poetry. And he wrote poetry, and he sung to people, and he told poetry to people to keep their spirits up while they were starving in there. And he said the same thing. It's repeating, it's coming back in. Then within that week, I got Charlie Chaplin. Now, I did not know Charlie Chaplin was into all this, right? You're going back to the 20s, all right? Remember, everything has been manipulated. What I'm going to do is, is Disney in spirit, or is he still alive? Because he was best friends, Charlie Chaplin was best friends with Disney. Can somebody tell me that? He's died, right? Okay. So, there's a lot of controversy to do with Disney, as you know. We'll not go down that route tonight, okay? But the original Disney, Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, Walt Disney, I wrote an actual little channel on him, actually, because he's come through. I thought he was in spirit. I wrote a channeling on it, and it was when he was trying to get Mickey Mouse off the ground, but it wasn't called Mickey Mouse, it was called something Willie or something Wheelboat Willie or something like that. Steamboat Willie. Thank you, Debbie. And he literally had no money, Disney, and he pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed it, and then he got it in the end, and he changed Steamboat Willie into Mickey Mouse. And then he became big in the city, and he knew Charlie Chaplin, and him and Charlie used to go to the bars in New York, and they were like proper lads about town, and all the ladies were chasing them and all of this. Because funny enough, Charlie Chaplin was quite good looking, because he used to darken his hair, so he was quite a fair lad, and put all the makeup on for the character of Charlie Chaplin. But Charlie Chaplin looked very similar to what Jasper looked like and my Uncle Matty. Very similar. They all looked the same. And he came through, and he said that it was coming in then, and it was the mafia who was trying to, obviously the mafia has gone into New York, but the mafia was the ones who was just under the governments and doing all the running around. And he says it's become so large now, it's so intercepted in its tentacles into the government. Lance worked at Disney in his teens. Walt's spirit was often spotted walking the park after closing. I was the late, often it was so quiet you could feel his spirit. Okay, so I'm feeling tonight, Walt, I'm getting him, he's upset because it's all got twisted with Sublimin or whatever they're up to and everything what's happening, and he's upset about that because the original Disney, that was not supposed to be the case. But they were quite ladies' men. They used to go to the bars in New York, and they were mates. So they knew then Charlie Chaplin and Walt Disney, what was going on and what was being intercepted to come in. And I believe that Charlie Chaplin was quite spiritual, a little bit of a medium, because he made that great speech, didn't he? And he said that the world's going to change a lot and there's going to be all sorts of things and there's going to be internet and that. He made a big speech about it, about the brutes, he said. If you can check his famous speech out about the brutes taking over and about sovereign to the people and we have to stand strong, and it was the days will come, that's what he said. And we are at these days now. So watch for a video coming on that. Watch for a video coming. Yeah, it's definitely going to affect the food. But abundance will come. But we will possibly have to be, I'm not saying we'll all be without food, but it could be like supermarkets will have like less on the shelves and things like that. So people are going to look more into growing their own things. So community gardens, the idea I had and what Spirit Givers was the fact that, you know, a bit of land in the village or the town, or where a couple of people donated a couple of gardens or land, and you grew the veg. We all chipped in to buy the seeds or whatever and got the chickens. So it was a community garden, so people could just help themselves if they needed it, because it was people were starving. So each family could get as much as they wanted every day from these community gardens or every week. And I believe that would work. And then you could have people who could watch the places overnight, you know, people working, like youths working there, or community gardens. And I just think then there would be no starvation. Never mind these tickets from the government or whatever you get in the US, or I don't know what they're called. What are they called? Food tickets or whatever. People are on the breadline over here, and people who are not working can't eat properly. So we need to food stamps. So we need to start doing this. We really do. So that just says it all, what Chris Dollar says. So BlackRock and Vanguard owns Disney. Well, he's not happy. Walt is not happy. He's not. There's always a good thing, and then they manipulate it and bring the bad in. But it's money, isn't it? They go where the money is. Let's have a look. He's not happy. He wants it back the way it was. I remember Cinderella. I used to love watching that when I was little. In Snow White. My granddad used to call me Snow White when I was little, because I look like her. same hairstyle. Let's have a look. Yeah, so there's still stuff going on, but it never used to be. That's the thing. Disney never used to be like that. The magician card. Oh, I've just got Michael Jackson there because he had his fun park, didn't he? Didn't he have his own fun park for the kids? Getting Michael Jackson. The magician card, so it's like they've intercepted into everything. They've intercepted into everything. Fox News is going to change. And I don't know if it's going to go in with another. I don't know if it's Fox News or CNN, but there's a ratings and something to do with ratings. It's going to change and it's going to go in with a well-known company. Netherlands. Watch for that. So there's a lot of justice courts this year. A lot of justice courts. So yeah, the veil's very thin. And I'm getting to see spirit a lot. I see spirit all the time when I'm reading for people, you know. It's not something you want to do daily when you're doing it for a job, believe you me. You know, so if I see some client and I'm in the supermarket, the last thing I want to be doing is reading them. Do you know what I mean? When you're doing it daily. People think I go around reading people, but I don't. Not when you're doing it for a job. But because when I'm sitting quiet at night time, this is the time when I get my remote viewing and my channeling's coming through and stuff like that. But at the minute, it's very powerful. And I'm getting a lot of connections with World War One, World War Two, and they're trying to tell us something. They're trying to tell us something. And if you look back through the history, it's like every so many years, something will happen and we're due something else. And that's what Uncle Matty said to us. He said that before they had the World War One, they had problems with poverty and the system and the foods and stuff like that before it came in. Where he lived, obviously they would have grown food in the garden because my great-great-granddad had land and that, you know what I mean? But in a little village where they lived. And we're at that place now before something. I know this sounds really crazy, but I'm getting called up. People will be called up. Let me see where that is. Have you ever just had to tell someone from spirit in public? Yeah. Only when, a couple of times when I've been out, which was very rare in the past. I was once in a nightclub and I went into the ladies' toilet. And she was crying in the toilet, this lady. And I said, normally I wouldn't have said anything. And I just went over to her and I said, he's okay. And she went, what? I says, he's okay. And it turned out it was her brother who had passed. And now I understand how she feels because it happened to me as well. But I think spirit will give you a message for somebody on the street if it's necessary. There's a timeline on it. It's not a definite timeline, but there is, like I said, there's different timelines at the minute, and I do believe that the dark warlords want some sort of war, you know, so they can reduce the numbers or whatever it is that how they tick. But it's very polar opposite that. So there is a timeline that could happen, but there's also a timeline that could be peace. Something's going on with time at the moment. Keep getting that song. If we could turn back time. Something's going on at the moment with energies and frequencies. I don't know if you can feel it. It's all happening, isn't it? The cards aren't saying which country, but I think it's going to have something to do with Russia. Right, so what I'm feeling is there's a fear here, and it's frequency wave, pulse, magnetic waves. That's what I'm saying. It's not, I don't feel it's nuclear. There could be something like that, what could be set off in sea, but it's more nuclear. It's like, if they do that, it's water. It's a frequency wave thing, I'm saying. EMP, yeah. I don't understand what it is, but something like that. Okay. What else was saying? So there is a new bridge that they're thinking of building. They've got to go and drain the swamp into Africa, yeah, and that's going to be a big one. But there's a lot of trade what's going to be taken in and out of Africa to come. A lot of rich soil. I was talking about this on the other night, on Sunday night, that North Korea eventually will go in with South Korea, but it'll be when a woman's in power, and it's never been in a Kim dynasty yet. It could be his daughter for the future, Kim's daughter. Remember, our children choose us. We choose what family we go into, like the different waves of the Earth volunteers to coming onto Earth. So no matter what you think about Kim Jong-un, his little girl is an Earth volunteer, and she's chose that family for a reason. Interesting. And he started to, when he goes out and he does his little, sort of appearances with these people, she's always there now. Electromagnetic pulse, yeah. That's what I'm feeling, what could take place. There could be a problem. Okay. Going to have a heat wave this year, guys. Dearie me. We'll have to get with fans in the house, and if I'm got aircon stuff. Not everybody has aircon, do you know what I mean? A lot of the houses over here in the UK don't have aircon. We're going to have a heat wave, and us Brits aren't used to the heat, you know what I mean? But New York's going to be sweltering. I see people actually getting rushed into hospital with the heat. So if you, prep if you can, guys, if you're over that way or different parts of the USA, there'll be different states which will get very, very hot. It's not so bad when you're near the water or near the sea because you've got the sea air, but inland's going to be really stifling. Need to get your fans in and stuff like that before they get sold out. This is also strange when I'm talking about fans getting sold out. There's going to be a problem with electrical stuff. Buying electrical stuff. Why would I get that? Strange. Problems with electric goods. Let's see what that is. Problems with electric goods. They normally come in from China and that, don't they? Like a shortage. It could be a shortage. Oh yes, Debbie. Is it the 10th it runs out? That's something else I said as well. I had said in one of my will predictions on my looking glasses that I could say something about documents, papers, and then there was going to be a problem with borders. Or a document paper running out. And then we found out that the thing Trump had in place for the borders runs out, doesn't it? It runs out. Is it the 10th or the 11th it runs out? I'll look into that. Okay. The 42 ends on Thursday, so it's the 11th. And have you noticed 11? 11 is like a master number. Archangel Michael, master number. I'm seeing 1111 a lot. I don't know about you guys, but it's coming up a lot. Yeah, so there could be something to do with the grid going down, or there could be problems there, so we need to watch for that. That's really strange because one's as weeks, but it could be within 1 month from now. There could be worries. No, it's not that. It's more to do with announcements, to do something coming out about Putin or something, or they're going to bring something out about him. And it could be the build-up of things, do you know what I mean? But, I don't speak Russian, but I was watching the subtitles this afternoon, and it did look like he was insinuating that he's getting ready for something. The 8 of Cups, the 7 of Wands, it could be 1 week, 1 month. There's going to be conflict between 2 countries, 2 or 3 countries. And I try and zone in on Musk. I go into giggles, and I don't know why. I go into giggles. It's just like I'm laughing because I know he's up to stuff, but not in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? Not in a bad way. Whatever Musk's going to do with Tucker, it's going to be huge. Huge. Okay. When I've said that I can see sort of refugees everywhere, it's not just to do with the border in the USA, you know. It's to do with everywhere. Like they're wanting to know where to put them. You know how you had the carry-on with Afghanistan, and then we're taking so many people in. And the same thing with Ukraine, they were taking so many people in into different countries. There's another situation like that. I'm feeling another situation like that again. Black Sea. I'm seeing that lighthouse again. You know, when I did the remote viewing, I don't know if I did it on YouTube or it might have been on, I think it was on just Twitch then. I did this, if anybody who hasn't seen it, it's in my Twitch library, but I did this remote viewing where I ended up in a lighthouse in the middle of the North Sea somewhere. And there was these sort of super soldiers there. Can you remember that on Twitch? So there is boots on the ground. I've said this before. There's definitely boots on the ground. Oh my God. How do I put this? Because I've got to be careful how I say it. I can say what I want on Twitch. But I'm getting war crimes. They're showing me this. And I don't know how far I'm looking on. And I'm being shown Zelensky. I'd say that. It's a vision I'm getting. I'm not saying it's true, but I'm getting it. Maybe it's going to be out on news and something. This is a strange vision I'm seeing. I'm seeing somebody famous skiing, like on a snow mountain. And there's going to be like a shock with it, with this person. So I want you to remember that as well. Blazing hot summer. And then coming into the end of the year, we're going to have the storm of the century. It's going to be crazy weather. So we just need to plan and prep as much as we can. Like I say, not everybody has the money to do that. But just, emergency kits, things that you wouldn't need a lot of money for. A flask, just like a normal flask where you can keep hot water in. Elastoplasts, antiseptic, bandages and stuff like that. Torch, hot water bottle. All of these different things which could save we if we needed it. Batteries. Shortage on bananas. So there's definitely something coming in here. But as I'm seeing this all happening, it's as if the darker hats want this to happen. But so does the lighter hats want this to happen. Because the lighter hats are wanting to make this new economy. So it's like the darker hats are doing their job for them. Does that make sense? It's really weird. Because there's a new economy, a new bridge coming in. Just put that down for a minute because it's heavy. There's already a shortage on bananas. I think you're right, actually. I think you are right because I get fruit and veg off me milkman delivered, and there hasn't been bananas in me thing for ages. There's going to be a lot of big supermarkets. Like I've said, that 2023 is like the fight of the fittest. So there's going to be big names. What's going to go into liquidization, that type of thing. You've got bananas, have you, Debbie? I'm just going to refresh my chat here. We've got 681 in all together in the multi-stream, so I presume that's on both sides. Yeah, Crystal O, I've just said that. Putin has had the World War II victory period here. Just the same as what we do on November the 11th. It's celebrated all over the world on different dates, isn't it? But it was a sudden realisation when I seen them all marching there, and I'm not from that country, so I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, my good God. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're all just brainwashed because everything is just all brainwashed. That is so true, Jamie, love. That the fruits and the veggies seem to go bad so fast now within a couple of days. Yeah. And it's so expensive, isn't it, to eat healthy? That's coming up again. I'm going to be doing something on time tonight. If we could turn back time. Best possible decision. So we're playing out our life on Earth, going around our daily business. Well, really, behind the scenes, there's something very odd going on. And yeah, we've got criminal activity and all of that, but there's something else going on with technology that we do not know what's been held back from, which is going to come in. But there's also been a lot of weaponry out there what we do not know. There's plenty of bananas in Louisiana. I love candy. Oh, well, that's good. Right, so there's something definitely going on with time here. But I do feel I need to send like a light around Earth, but I want to put protection around farmers and ranchers, that type of thing. 16 cities in Russia did not hold a victory day. I could well believe that. There is a lot of the Russian people don't agree with it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's the uprising of like the spiritual ascension, isn't it? Haven't you noticed that junk food is cheap? Very, very cheap. One thing I do like, and it is very, very cheap, and I don't know if it's nutritious, but it's got a long shelf life, is noodles. We've got Chinatown down in Newcastle, where you can go in there and in the China markets and that, and it's cheap as chips. And the shelf life on the stuff's really cheap. Pasta as well, yeah. But these are the things that would store well. I've had a problem, guys, and I'm going to tell you, I don't feel ashamed telling you. I've had a problem with little beetles suddenly appearing in my kitchen cupboard. Okay. And I had to Google what they were, and it turns out they're larder beetles. Have you heard of them? So they don't like peppermint oil. So I've been clearing it away and everything, but I'm going to have to go through my cupboards. I've gone through them, but I'm going to have to go through my big larder, and I need some Tupperware boxes or something to seal everything because there's a problem with beetles. But then it's given us a sort out because I haven't been through that big larder cupboard in a while. But yeah, like, so if I open the drawer, I might find like a little larder beetle sitting in a cup or something that isn't nice. I've never even heard of them. So they're like a little black beetle and they've got like a little brown back on them. So even things like loose spaghetti you're not supposed to have out or anything. Exactly. Disgusting. So that's what I've been doing over the last week. I've been killing little beetles. So I don't know where they've gone in from, but you've got to seal everything. So I don't really literally have anything open, but see, like cereal boxes, I might have them open, so I'm going to have to chuck them out. So it's a problem, but we need to like, that's part of spring cleaning, isn't it? What we've got to do. Part of spring cleaning. But like I say, if you get yourself to these markets and places, sometimes they're cheaper. The ethnic shops are cheaper than going into the normal supermarkets. Moon Fairy freezes almond flour. Oh, that sounds good. Pet food as well, yeah, that's another thing. What's a gnat problem, Debbie? Patricia, it would be difficult for Meghan and Harry to break up with the children. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, right? There's so many different haters out there. And it's everyone's personal life. You can't help it when you're like in the limelight, you know what I mean? But when there's children involved in that, it's not nice. Do you know what I mean? And I think that no matter what you think in Meghan and Harry, they've got a they're twin flames. They definitely are. I'm still sticking to that. Patricia had flower. Patricia, where you gone there? I had flower bugs. Oh. Hiya, Diane. So there's dried food and packets and stuff like that is a must, and different things, beans and God knows what, you know what I mean? And tinned food is a good thing because I've just had a flash of my Uncle Matty there. You know, you're going back to like a tin of baked beans, you know, or Heinz beans or Heinz tomato soup. I'm sure it's ancient, you know, it was way back then. You know, and there was somebody, I don't know where it was, that had bought this house, and they had gone into the the cellar, and it was all old-fashioned, and it was a bunk out from the World War II or World War One or something, and they still had the tins of the food underneath this cellar where they were hiding the family. Isn't that amazing? So tin food can be sealed. It's like airtight. It can keep forever, can't it? People are getting a lot of problems with bugs and things like that. Wasps aren't nice. Bees are nice. Gnats are like fruit flies. Oh, wow. Harvest. I mean, I've got clients that I work for around the world, and I do their readings for around the world. One lady, I'll not say her name, but I don't know where she actually lives, but she's got a chicken farm. She sometimes what follows us. In the dark sort of people there, who are coming in trying to bully the people in the area, are trying to get them to get rid of the chickens, and it's against the law. It's like they don't want people to have log burners, they don't want people to have chickens, you know what I mean? But that's what we need to be doing. It's coming through really, really strong out of plan. Because that is what is facing. It's the old system, what is not being nice, it's not served well, so it's changing. So there's going to be wobbles for that type of thing. It's coming through really, really strong. We have the power to change timelines, but I do think it's a good thing if you can get into it, Arvidin. Even if you're growing your own carrots or whatever, experiment. Anything I think that you can try and grow what's perennials, worth it. Some herbs are perennials. I've got rosemary in the garden and stuff like that. And just like practical magic, what is it you do? You keep, what's that saying they said on practical magic? You keep rosemary by your garden gate. Something like that. And it keeps evil away and it brings luck in. But you can grow wild garlic, potatoes, they keep coming back again. And there's fruit bushes which are perennial and they'll come back again. And even better still, if you can plant yourself some apple trees and that type of thing. So different states, they're trying it, but they're not going to win. And it's exactly what Sharon said. America is God's country and they will never win. And you're right there. But it's such a huge country. It's like lots of different countries and different states. But they have been trying that. They've been trying that, different people. Trying, but they're not winning. I believe a situation went to court and they didn't win. Ooh, just watch for big news coming out to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's going to be quite shocking. So watch for that. You know what that is? The government have banned log fires and coal fires in the UK. I know loads of people what's got them. Are you sure? Idiots that are. Absolute idiots. Bunch of plonkers. Let me have a look. I'm telling you, there's going to be another Guy Fawkes in this country. We've got a beautiful lavender coming over the United Kingdom. And there will be uprising of the UK people. The NHS has really took a toll over the last couple of years. And the government haven't been putting the money back into it, you know what I mean? It's the same as the police force over here as well. It's like bellowing. It's ready to snap. there's going to be like privatisation coming in on it, and it's going to be on a 3-tier system. I see that eventually. Eventually. Well, there's going to be an influx. So they will get back on their feet, but it's through an intervention. And then there's going to be a mass influx of them wanting to train new nurses. So people are going to go in to be nurses. And new hospitals to be built eventually. Or special hospitals. Special hospitals. You know what it is? It's like it's something to do with childbirth. It's new midwifery units. Natural birthing centres, that's what I'm getting. And there's also going to be centres for more centres and help for autism, which is a great thing. That was Photoshopped, Judith. A man with a black long hooded cape was caught like the Grim Reaper. It was Photoshopped. Honestly, trust us, it was Photoshopped. You have rosemary at your door? Yeah, very good. The schooling system in the UK is definitely falling, definitely. And there's an uprising with parents and that's going to all change as well. And it's the pressure what's put on the teachers as well, you know what I mean? Because it's like I say, it's not just it's not the teacher's fault, it's who's above them. School boards and all of that, and Ofsted and all of that. Everything's going to change with schooling. I mean, I could be looking 4 or 5 years down the line here. New tiered system for schooling, a new way of teaching kids. New ideas will seep in. It's something like this globally cannot happen overnight. It's going to take time. That's the plan, Patricia. Oh my God. Patricia White in the audience. 15-minute cities will get them to inspect gardens, then they will fine you for grown food. Bollocks. That's the plan, but the plan will not work. The plan will not. Let's see what's going to happen with that Tory government. Let me pull some cards. Rise to the people. We are the British people. I always thought they would have it would have been the pandemic what it would have made the British people fight back. It's not going to be that. It's going to be something else. Because we, as the British people, will not be put into another lockdown. After when the Tory government were found with their pants down at Partygate, do you know what I mean? Having their little parties and that. Telling us that we can't go near our relatives. Well, they were snug on their mistresses and parties, you know. You know what they're doing. They're all at it. They're all at it. Okay. They will fall, they will come out, but I think there's gonna be an uprising. I think things are gonna get a bit worse before things get better. I think we've got dark days to come into the end of the year, and that's gonna be the massive testing point for the British people. Yeah. Because it's gonna be like where we could have power cuts. It's not so bad if it's in the summer, it is in the winter. And we're going to have a bleak winter. And plus I was going on earlier on about that global thing which could affect the UK with intermittent power cuts. That the Tories are going out because they've got the blue upside down. And we will go Labour Britain again, but it's going to take a time. But it's not the Labour people that we're looking at the minute. Because at the minute I see it as like it's the same penny, two different sides at the minute. Unless it's the other ones. It's not, was it Keir Starmer? I think it's somebody else. I'm seeing a darker haired man, and I'm also seeing a woman with red hair, loud voice. That could be Angela, or it could be a different woman. But there's another woman to stand. There's another woman to stand in Parliament. Don't forget, Rishi Sunak was not voted in by the people. He was voted in by the party. He was voted in by the party. That's what he was voted in. So that's Rishi Sunak, dark-haired man, leaving the situation eventually. But I think that where there's going to be scandals to come out with the Tory party, it's not so much what Rishi's done, it's more to do what Boris has done and other people past stuff. And it's got something to do with Brexit. There's stuff to come out, there's scandals to come out. Yeah, so he's just like a replacement in Rishi for a time being. Mr. Smooth Operator. Yeah. He always looks like he's come from like MI6 or something. Do you know what I mean? Mr. Smooth Operator. There he is. And there's a lot coming out with him, but so it's not his fault. He's just in temporary. Do you know what I mean? Julie Sparkle. Oh, I like that name. Julie Sparkle. We had a mobile phone outage yesterday, 24 hours. Well, that's a good thing. Blanching's another good thing you can do. Cook and blanch and freeze. But the thing is, it's all well and good, but if you haven't got a generator, if the bloody power goes down, all your stuff in the freezer's going to defrost, isn't it? Pickling is the way. Now, that's a good one, Franco, because it means it's not leaving any sauce to cook it off. It's just there, isn't it? I remember once I had a little job when Luke was a baby, and I worked at a pub, right? Just 2 days a week. And you're going to laugh because he used to go off and he had another pub somewhere else at Sunderland, and he would leave me to run the pub. And it wasn't like flash, it was just like an old man's pub. So you get the same men would come in, daily, and the television would be on the wall, and then you make them a cheese toasty and stuff like that, and they'd have the stout or the lager or whatever, and we had pickled eggs and pickled eggs. Have you ever tried a pickled egg? But pickled eggs can keep forever. Pickled onions, pickled eggs, all of these things of like pickled cucumber's a nice one. Pickled cucumber. You've just made pickled eggs. I wouldn't know where to start, Debbie. I wouldn't know where to start. I can make a Scotch egg. But yeah, things in jars would really, really help. The Amish do pickled eggs. They are good. Oh, I think I'm going to try that. I'll need to find a recipe. You'll have to give us a recipe, Debbie. So the fridge and the freezer is going to go down with power cuts. So we've got to think of these things. Do you know what I mean? And even if you can get yourself if you haven't got a stove, because not everyone's got a log burner. Not everyone's fortunate to have something like that. But you can get like the little camping cookers for 30, 40 quid. Not even that. You can get them on Amazon. And it's handy to have with a few little canisters. Just something, just in case. Just in case. Pickled beetroot's nice. I do have that, and I've got pickled onions, but I bought them from the store. I haven't done them myself. Children of New Earth. Yeah. So I'm going to have a little break, right? And then we're going to do something else. But the illusion card there is saying it is a movie, but it's always been like, it's like, it's just because we've ascended, we're seeing it like the veil's lifted now. But it's been going on for decades, guys. It's been going on for decades. So I would say this is a good thing that we are seeing all of this now, because it's Source, God, showing us that we're coming to the end of the road before we have the fruitfulness and everything comes out. You know what I mean? Pickled eggs make the best egg salad Ooh, really? Well, we've got to think of all these things, haven't we? And how our ancestors coped in the war. You know, in the food rations, my nana used to say, my grandma, they only could get so much butter, so much sugar, but they made everything last. So look at all the money we've wasted on food over the years and how much food we were chucking out. Yeah. So you know how we had the pandemic and it stopped the world and we all were shut down? There's another situation like that coming, but it's not nasty. It's not nasty. It's just slowing we for a bit. But it's actually helping we as well. The Amish pickled eggs were made with beets or mustard. Ooh. Sounds amazing. Well, the Amish will be all right, won't they? You've got it right. They have it right. You know what I mean? So possibly in the pandemic, they would have been self-sufficient. They wouldn't have been as affected as what we are. Think about it. You can only be as self-sufficient as you can if you're like a city girl like I am. But you can prep in different ways. Because there's something about food. And I'm going to look a little bit deeper into it. Give us a few minutes break. And then I'll come back and then we're going to look into a little bit more real predictions and then we'll see what else comes. Okay? But what seems to be coming out tonight is that we need to prep and we need to, we're all going to become more spiritual. And I think we're going to get a lot of downloads this year. And I feel we're also going to get a lot of sightings this year of different strange stuff in the sky. But as I've been saying this for a while, all of these strange UFOs in the sky are not all flown by extraterrestrial, you know what I mean? Mary, I used leftover pickle juice to pickle my jalapenos and it was good. Ooh, amazing. Yeah, we need to have a night of it, don't we? We need to have a night of how we can do the prepping and how we can make things cheap. You know, comment on the link below if you have done canning yourself or anything. I would love to give it a try, but I don't have the bloody time. Do you know what I mean? But you know what you can do, and it helps other people, and that's what it's about, us being in a community so we can all pass on and help each other. Because it's going to be all right. It really, really is. So give us a few minutes and I'll be back on. I'm going to go for make a coffee. Get your popcorn or make your coffees or your teas or whatever. Give us a few minutes and I'll be back. All right? You would like a night of it, yeah. I've got some amazing herbal books and that, you know what I mean? Ingredients is another thing. Recipes is another thing. You know, how we can feed a family of 4 for a week on a £10, you know, things like that, you know what I mean? It's sharing each other's ideas to help each other. Maybe a community recipe page. Oh, you've got me thinking now. How would I do that? Right, give us a few minutes. Community recipe page. I'll be back on in a minute. Okay, give us a 5-5 if you can hear us. Yeah? You can tell what I've been doing. I've been naughty. Okie dokie. So I'm gonna look into it again, see what I can see. And then I'm gonna give out some lottery numbers. Now I know not everyone's into lottery numbers, but you never know. You never know. You've got to be in it to win it. There's different areas. So the UK, can anybody tell us in the UK how many numbers they are? Because I don't do the lottery. What it is for the UK lottery, what it is for the Euro, and what it is for the US. Does anybody know? Whoa, that's gone up quick. Yes, I have, Judith. Very, very good. Yes, Judith, I have heard of him. And I've seen some of the shows. So, is it 6 for... We'll do the UK first, okay? Let's do the UK first. Get your pens. Right. Number 1. Number 6, number 12. 32, 46 and 36. So that's UK. Euro is 5 plus 2. Let's do the Euro. This is going to help people, okay? And what does it go up to? Can you tell us what it goes up to with the Euro? Is it 60? Yeah, that's the UK. Jenny's written them down. Thank you, Jenny. That's in Twitch. Right. Euro. 46. 15. Number 5. 24. 29. How many is that? Is that 5? Number 12 and 21. I hope you're lucky. Euro lottery. US. How many is it for the US? Can you just type in here for us? Is it this Thursday, is it? Does anybody know how many numbers it is for the US? Six. Is it 6 numbers for the US? Here you go. And what does it go up to? Straight away, I'm getting 46. I'm getting number 52. Does it go up to 52? Or is it could be 5 or 2? You tell us? 60, right, 52. 49. So that's 3, isn't it? $13, $17, and 27. Okay? Right. And there's a bonus number I'm being given for the UK, which is number 12. I Googled Lotto and it goes up to 49. That was the US I did, but is it the Lotto goes up to 49 in the US? Jenny's written that down in Twitch. 12 bonus UK. You want the mega Powerball? 42. You never know. Give us feedback if he's won anything, which it has happened before. Okay. You know what, right? So there's going to be something global what's going to happen. It's going to have something to do with trade. And I want to say that this is so funny. It's as if that I'm getting Austria or Switzerland, that area. So a similar area. It's as if it has a lot to say on the matter, but it's also the heart of the matter. I know that sounds a bit cryptic, what I'm saying. It has a lot to say on the matter, but it's the heart of the matter. Number 12, Lance, for your Powerball. Okay. Right. So as I'm scanning around this ball, as I'm looking around the globe, I'm getting like a dark mass, and it's sort of around like Iran, Israel area. That's where there's going to be some worry. And like I've always said, it's like when everything kicks off, you're like, look, you don't look over there, and it's like, oh my God, it's all going on at the same time. You're like switching channels and that. And that's strange because I seen this on Sunday night, and I seen like white cones or balls bobbing in the sea. But I also seen like an aircraft bobbing in the sea. Something about sea, and everybody's talking about it. And I don't know if it's a new technology or it's something to do with that they're going to bring in for fuel or energy, but it's got something to do with something's floating in the sea. I get the weirdest visions, you know, when I'm looking into this crystal ball. I really, really do. Yeah, I didn't know there was an Oklahoma lottery. That's strange. The numbers are flying up on Twitch, aren't they? All you lovely subscribers coming in. Okay. Thank you. What I'm going to start doing is, I have been really tired recently, okay, guys? But I'm getting a balance. I'm just getting used to doing the 3 streams, and I've got ideas to put out more. I haven't been putting out my looking glasses and my garden talks on YouTube because I've been very busy. But I will get back into balance. So, but people who don't get to come onto Twitch, because I like to give out as free stuff as I can. Don't forget I work as well. But I have got this idea of doing little after shows on Twitch for people who are on Twitch. You know, just like little half an hour after shows for people. So watch for them coming as well. I'm getting that song from the 80s. I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. Who sang that? I should be so lucky in love. Who sang that? I'm showing my age now. I think I've got A2I tonight, guys. Now, anybody who doesn't know who A2I is, he's a little ball of light being. Kylie, little Kylie, yes. I wonder if we're going to hear some news around Kylie. Hope it's nothing. I hope it's okay. I didn't lose my son's way. I've not lost my sons. I lost my brother. God forbid. Yeah, I lost my brother, my youngest brother. Paul, he was called. Nearly 2 years ago now. So my sons are still alive, thank God. Strong and still alive. It's my youngest brother, Paul. He was 52 when he passed over. But thank you anyway. I I feel like I've lost a kid because he was like my baby brother, even though he was bigger than me and stronger than me. And I'm so sorry, American Patriot, that you lost your son in 2012. I really don't believe that anybody could get over that. It's the worst pain that anybody could go through. It's called death in the wrong order. You don't expect your child to go before you, yeah? And there's been a lot of people who've suffered globally because of this. Yeah, it's been nearly 2 years since Paul's passed. But there was only me and Paul, you know, and you know what? Me and Paul never fought. And I'm a bit of a sparky character, you know. I'm fiery, I'm a Scorpio. And Paul was a Gemini, but we never fought. All our life, we never fought. We never had one argument from being little, from being born, all the way through. He had a common influence about us, and I don't believe there'll be anybody else on this planet who could ever do that to us. But yeah, even mediums were not immune to what's happening. Yeah. And it's something that I wanted to say, actually, guys, before I get on with this. On Thursday, I don't know if I'll be able to be on. All right, so don't worry if I can't be on, because I've got clients and I had to put them in because it was like an emergency readings and that. But if I can't be on, don't worry about it. I'll be putting something out for you from like a looking glass or something like that. I might not be able to make Thursday, but I'll definitely make it on Sunday. But what I am planning on doing is doing more letters in heaven for people, which I feel is necessary and needed. Okay, so it's more about weather, what's coming out tonight. I mean, if I'm looking into the Trump stuff, you know, it's going to just go on and on and on. I want to go deeper than that. The banking systems, it's inevitable, something's happening there. But it's not all of the banking systems. It's a fight of the fittest on every corporation, on every level. As I'm looking down, I've got little Trump, like a baby Trump. It's like a matchstick man Trump. And he's walking along, and it looks like he's walking down through Manhattan. It's like a mini version of him. And I'm getting the 28th. And I see a break in the road. I don't know what that means. That's just what they're showing us. But whatever happens, it's going to make way. Whatever it does, it's going to change America, but it's going to pave the way for a new America. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. It's coming out really, really strong. Australia is going to be the place to be into the future. So I've been seeing this for a while. There's like new technology, what's been held back. And they've kept it back from with greed, and they feed it in. I've been seeing this for a while. They drip it in like the latest cell phone or whatever. They drip it in. And but the technology what's coming in is going to be remarkable, and there's going to be some breakthroughs to do with technology, to do with health. There is 2 timelines here, yeah. There definitely is. It's just it came through very strong. I see like mini little Trump. Sometimes an event has to happen, which isn't very nice. But once the event happens, it takes you onto a timeline which will uncover something, which will take you back to the past, where then the past will change the future. And it's coming out really, really strong. get this holy feeling of the Holy Spirit, and there is a definite spiritual war here. And it's as if the Holy Spirit is circulated out over the United States, and it's going over all the fields with all the grain and the cattle and everything. It's trying to protect that area. She's also circulating around Japan. And there's going to be an uprising with technology there as well. Do you know Japan's massively into the space programs? Massively. I don't know why I was getting something about Austria or Switzerland. Dark undertakings will be taken down. There's a massive, huge porthole underneath there in an underground city. Swiss mountains. Under Swiss mountains. I am now going into the Nile, and I see problems with the Nile, and I'm saying they're giving us the word drying up. Drying up. Anybody who's in this audience tonight who's been suffering with grief, I want to send you healing and blessings. And now I'm going to say something here tonight, right? They're there for you. Our body may go to dust, but the spirit is immortal. The spirit lives on. And one day you will see them again. Watch for feathers, watch for signs. You've got more chance to meet up with your loved ones when you're in sleep state. But sometimes when we go through that death in the wrong order, no death is easy. No death is easy. It literally isn't. But to lose a child, horrific. Horrific. Because you don't expect your child to go before you. So unfortunately, Mother Nature makes it that when we're grieving, we create this darkness around our aura. And that's hard for the loved one to come through because you're on a low vibration. So you need your crystals. You need to take time. It's okay to cry. It's endless tears of ocean. The tears will not stop because it's your Ben. It's your baby. It's your Ben. But once there's no such thing when people say, oh, time's a great healer. It's a load of rubbish. Time is not a great healer. It's the wrong words. It just gets, I wouldn't even say the word is easier to live with. You learn to walk through it. And when you learn to walk through it, and you're not looking for them answers, they come to you. Spirit moves in mysterious ways. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lance. Yeah. There's so many things happening. I mean, and people ask me all the time. They're tested with faith all the time. You know, it's when you lose somebody, and that person's been really good, or it's been a child even. Why did God take my baby, or why did God take my great love when there's bad people running around? I get that said to me on a daily basis when I'm doing people's readings. Why? And it's as if I want to say that the angels weep. The angels don't have when we're born, we have a guardian angel. And that guardian angel is assigned to you from birth. But they cannot influence our path. They can only guide us. Guardian angel guide. Like you have your spirit guides as well. And unfortunately, we're plonked onto this planet, this piece of rock, which is, it's like an assault course. Not only do we have to navigate away from the evil, we've got to navigate away from accidents, illness, everything what's out there. But I've come to understand, being a shaman, that it's a frequency and energy thing, you see. And we have 3 auras. We have our rainbow, we have our physical, and we have our outer aura. And if anything penetrates that, it can penetrate in, and that's how you can get disease. You can get holes in your aura. You can get attachments. There's so many different things what a body goes through, your soul goes through, to navigate away from all these different things which can cause harm or disease or accidents and stuff like that. But not only do we have to navigate away from all of that and protect ourselves and look after ourselves, we are also walking past people who you don't know who you're walking past, or you're coming up against, and you don't know who they are. Because it's a free will world, unfortunately. Or is it fortunately? It's a free will world. We're actually plonked on this planet with demonic beings and all sorts of different entities. And I'm not saying this to give you fear. I'm saying this to empower you. Because once you walk with the Holy Spirit, nothing can touch you. You don't have any fear. You don't have any fear of death. You don't have any fear of evil. Because you know that the Holy Spirit's within you. But our kids are up against so much evil what's out there. Drinking, drugs, and horrible, horrible things. Horrible things. In which the governments are allowing to happen. They're allowing it to come over the borders. But what I need to tell you is, this new earth we're going into, we have been tracked for many, many years. Snowden came out with it. And look what happened to him. And he won't come back to the country because he wants a fair trial, and they won't give him a fair trial. But never mind, that's beyond the thing what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that the technology is always been tracking with, but they've never admitted it. But the technology, what's going to come out, they will admit it, and we'll have a choice. But also it's going to stop, listen to me, criminal activity, and it's going to stop drug barons and all of this from coming over our borders. It's not just about putting a wall up. I'm not saying that I'm against that wall. Far from it. Yeah, I thought a lot of his policies were very good. But what I'm saying to you is, it's the technology what's going to stop this. But then we've got another problem. We've got a problem putting a restriction on that technology, and that's what Musk goes on about. Because what we do not need is the technology taking over humanity. So, because we're a very superstitious tribal race, all coming from different backgrounds, it's scary because we're going into a futuristic world, which should have been here, by the way, 50 odd years ago. They've held, if not more, they've held this back because of greed, because they've not wanted us to be part of knowing what's out there in space. It's all about greed, what the space people can, the different star races can bring onto the planet. So, the likes of these mafia organisations, they've made a lot of money, and they've made it backhanded from governments and stuff like that, and they're going to lose power as well. So it's like we're in a teething time on Earth. She's teething. She's grown a new set of teeth. That's what she's doing. And she's never done that before because she was stopped before. We've tried this 8 times. We're in the 9th gate. Now, the video, what's coming out tomorrow night, I've clipped it, but to watch the full lot from the beginning, you can watch it on Twitch. But I've clipped the important bit of the channeling where Bilo, the frogman, comes through and he tells me what's going on and he tells you all what's happening. Okay? But he talks about the 9th gate. So we've done this many times before. Many times. And we were stopped. And every time they stop, they create a war-like situation. Wipe our memories, we start again. all that type of thing, and enslaved were. Earth is a lot older than what we know. And we did not come from monkeys. Some of them may have come from monkeys, but it's a lot more complex than that. So everything's been about power. It's been about control. But what you need to know is we're moving in the right direction. We're not moving backwards. So we're on the edge of the gate going into 9th gate. This is what the frogman said by law. Okay? And it's going to get like that. Because it's rocking away. It's rocking them off the planet. It's rocking them. They're falling. The cockroaches are going. They're scurrying away. But we're coming through it. We really, really are. So I just think that we just have to watch our kids, watch our families, and just the old-fashioned, how we were brought up, the old-fashioned way. Try our best. Look after our elderly, our neighbours. Just traditional ways. And in this truth community, everyone's going on about, we need to be in the 5th dimension. We need to be, or you're going to be left behind. Load of rubbish. You're already there, guys. We need to keep grounded. And I can't even say what dimension it is. Everyone's all different. But what's important is your frequency level is what's right for you. You might have somebody who's gone off, took a load of ayahuasca, and they're way up there, 6th, 7th dimension, but they can't operate on Earth. They can't go to work. They can't do this. They can't do that. They can't feed their family. They're just sitting there. They're like in a veget state. And yet the guy down the road who's in the 3rd, 4th dimension, who gets these little downloads, but he's strong, he's planting his carrots, he's all with it. Keep grounded. And it's the best advice I can tell you. It doesn't stop this. Keeping grounding will not stop your psychic eye developing. If anything, it'll just open it more. Being grounded means look after you. It's not about what's on the outside, it's about what's in. But what will change on this planet, and I've noticed in this audience tonight, and it's a lot of people have had trouble with their sons and their daughters with different types of drug and rehab. And as you know, people who follow me, I've had my youngest son's been in rehab 3 times. Okay, I'm not ashamed to talk about it. I think people need to talk about it more. I could write a book about mental health. I think it needs to be talked about. And not many people talk about it in the UK because it's all like poo-poo over here, and it needs to be talked about. It's so important that it's talked about. And it's not just young people, it's older people as well. It's different types of addiction. But what a lot of these kids are doing is they're escaping their 5th, 6th dimensional abilities, because they did not come onto this planet, these violet indigo children. They didn't come in on the 3rd. They were born out of the matrix, and it's been too overwhelming for them. So what these dark overlords did was they allowed the mafia. Come on in, guys. Come on over the border. Just come in. Come on. Just come in and poison our kids. Just come in. And they've allowed this to happen. And God knows what they're putting in the stuff. God knows what tracking things are in. Mind control stuff in. They've wanted this to happen. It's been an attack on the violet indigo children. Yes, there was cocaine out there when we were kids, when we were in our 80s, but it wasn't the culture then than it is now, because we're from the first phase of the Earth Volunteers. The second phase, the warriors of the light, they've never wanted to fit into Earth. A lot of them have got autism or problems, or they've never been able to fit in. So they've tried to escape the reality by getting high or whatever, because they haven't been able to cope with the low vibrations of Earth. It's been cleverly put together. Everything's been cleverly put together. They knew the Violet Indigo children would try these out. But what you need to understand is the little ones coming onto the planet now, they're from the 3rd, 4th phase of the Earth Volunteers. They're on a different level. They're clued up like the Violet Indigo children and the Emerald children. We're the Emerald children, the first phase. They're clued up. But they're ready for this AI world. And their higher selves know what these dark overlords are doing. So they're ready for the AI world. They've come from the future. They've come back from the future. The spirits. And some of them have come from the angel realm as well. So they're clued up. And yet they're sensible. So they're not going down that addiction route. So they're losing. So this system, what's going to be brought in, it's, it's nearly all camera over here now anyway. When you're living in the cities and that. Like it is in China and that. But at the end of the day, it's going to stop a lot of criminal activity. It's going to stop a lot of criminal activity. So there's going to be more systems. Everything's going to be about natural. Everything's going to be about talking, centers and new light workers to come forward, but they're going to intercept within the system. So I would say that then the medical profession is going to it's going to take a long time to get rid of big pharma, and I'm not against it, all of it. Some of it can save your life. Antibiotics saved my life when I was a young woman because I got toxic shock syndrome, right? So it can save your life. But what I'm saying is that they've been overprescribed. So it's like doctors are going to be holding. They're going to be shown how to do things more. They're doing this now in the UK. If you go to the doctors and you've got mental health, they won't just chuck temazepam at you or Prozac now, They have different things out there now, and it's all about talking. So we are progressing, but it needs to be more talked about, and there needs to be more centres opened about this. And I've had a fantastic idea, which I was going to write to either William or Harry at the time, because they look into the mental health. You can write to the royal family, and they can fund you for things. And I was going to call it Angel Line. And it was going to be because the NHS, they can't deal with it. If you have somebody who has, and don't forget I've been at the end of that, has a meltdown, you get the doctor to come out, the doctor comes out, then you're going to wait for the psychiatrist to come out. So they send you down to the A&E, and you're sitting amongst a load of drunks in A&E for 5-6 hours. It's not a place you want to be with someone who's bad with their nerves. It's not funny. Then you've got to wait for the daft cat team to come out. Don't ask me what the cat team's called, but we've got the cat team over here. They take hours, and then they're not really that good. Do you know what I mean? That's all we've got. So I have this idea of calling it Angel Line. This is what I would like to do. If I ever won the lottery, I would do this and fund it. And it would be, they would have their own centres dotted up and down Britain, across the British Isles and everywhere, right? And it's had their own little ambulances, little white ambulance with Blue Cross on or whatever. And it just means if anybody has a meltdown, you ring Angel Line. They come out, they assess you with a proper psychiatrist, proper psychiatric nurses, take you in, and you have like a place to stay. But then it's through the day they have centres where you've got therapists there, where you could have like different sort of acupuncture. And so it's bringing the conventional in with the alternative. And I think that in having places for these young people, and it's not just street drugs, it's prescription drugs is another big one. Don't get me going on that. Do not get me going on that. See, I'm on a rant, and I didn't want to go on a rant, but it needs to be talked about. My mother wrote a book called Prisoner on Prescription, because my mother's an author, right? It was her first book. I don't believe you can buy it, but it might be in the library. You might be able to get it on Amazon, but people are selling it for ridiculous prices. But it's called Prisoner on Prescription by Heather Jones. She was hooked on Valium in the 70s, and then she came off it in the 80s, and she went through this horrific withdrawal. And she had an amazing doctor called Professor, what was she called? She's not here now. This woman was a saint anyway. And she started off a group in the UK called Come Off It. It was called Come Off It. And it was a self-help group because there was nothing in the NHS. And people were helping each other. You know, my mother met friends through it. She wrote the book. I met a very good friend, one of my very good friends. I'll not say her name. And she was put on the damn stuff when she was 9 for a nervous tick. And then they took her off the damn thing. This is the system. The system where I used to work for. Took her off it. And she took a meltdown. She was going through puberty and they had to put her in a mental institution because she was attacking the nurses and stuff like that. No wonder. So we've come to understand that some GPs, they're like legalised drug pushers. Yeah. And there's a lot of people in the UK and the USA alone are dependent on these benzos. So that is another thing. And it should all come underneath the same umbrella. So Angel Line is an idea what I had. And it needs to be done. And I think that it's taken the voice of people and other ideas to come in to do something about it. So crazy but kind here. I'm a mental health nurse in the NHS. We are stretched to the absolute max. Exactly. Angel Line. I don't know where I'm going to go to write it. I might write to William about it, but something needs to be done about it. Funding needs to be done. And it could be pulled off. And could you imagine if that took off in the UK? How amazing it would be to have that on the streets of USA. Because when you're going into USA, they don't even have NHS. So God knows what you're going over, what's happening over there for you. Angel Line. And it could be linked to the police service, it could be linked to the NHS. But it just means that when somebody has a meltdown, they're not ringing the NHS for the ambulance. So it's not putting the NHS under pressure. So it's going to help the NHS. Because I can guarantee a lot of the problems alone, what happened in the pandemic, the police weren't getting called out to people's houses, was because people were having meltdowns. That was the only thing what was going on over here. I don't know about the US, but that's what was going on over here. Something needs to be done about it. So Rita, in the audience here, Rita Northway, my doctor told me when your pain medicine wears off, you have 2 choices. Oh, it's missed. It'll be 2 choices, yeah. So I just feel very strongly that something needs to be done, and mental health is crying out for help. And we're not immune to any of this. It could happen to each and every one of us. Anybody, you know, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it's like our kids are they've been up against this evil. They really, really have. I'm going to write to William. I'm going to write to him and see what can be done. But that's something else what Crazy But Kind saying. Patients with mental health are being turned away from services as they have addictions. And that was the problem I had. They took my son off the list because they said there was nothing wrong with him, but only because he was bamboozling them, because they couldn't do anything with him. But it's since I've had him taken off, I had to pay, and I found all this out. That he was autistic spectrum and da-di-da-di-da. So, you know, that does not go down well if somebody is a drug dealer is going towards an autistic, vulnerable adult. And that's what I've been going with. So we all as parents need to come together and talk about this. And then you've got people not just who've got drug addiction or alcohol addiction. Lancer says here, you can get things like anxiety disorder. And we've all been affected. We've all been affected to a certain level at some point in my life. But I think this 2-year gap that we've had, everything what's gone on globally, I think it's making we need to talk about this. We need to do something about this. And this is part of spiritual, we're all spiritually evolving, helping each other. Anything could happen. And I just think if I put this idea out, and even if somebody else takes this idea, who's got the money? I'm not bothered. Spirit give me the download. Something needs to be done about it. It really does. 3 times I had my son backwards and forwards in a hospital. He was a very poorly young man. And they wouldn't take him in. They wouldn't help him because they said he had, this is what they do over here. They wouldn't help him because they said he had to stop taking what he was doing before they could help him. Well, that's the silliest, backward, upside down statement you would say to somebody who's got an addiction. It just doesn't make sense, does it? Well, that must have been awful, Crystal. So, yeah, my mother's book's out there, and it's called Prisoner on Prescription. Very good book. I'm sure I was watching a documentary that there's a lot of the USA are having this problem, with the benzos and that. But there's going to be a movement on natural medicine, and I think it's going to be intercepted in with Big Pharma at some point, in with these new corporation ideas. And it's going to take time to drip it in. And AI is coming in as well. And people go, oh, I don't want to, be operated on by a robot. But for all you know, you've got honestly no idea what's out there. I mean, the people want these med beds. What do you think the med beds are? They're operating on you without an incision. Isn't that far better? I think a lot of these things are going to be like frequency things to put my body back into sync and stuff like that. I'm going to pull some cards out for this week. But yeah, comment on the link below, guys, if you think angel line's a good idea. Victory. And this is why I've kept going, This is why being a medium isn't just about political stuff. It's about the people. It's about everything. And it's about talking about real stuff. And part of the spiritual ascension is well body, well mind, well soul. Not going straight out there with all this fear and all this misinformation can send people tripping like psychosis. And I'm going to be straight to the point here, right? I'm going to be straight to the point. I think there's been a bit of, in the collective within the United States of America, to do with all this politics, I think there's been some sort of psychosis of information what's been out there, and it's and I'm not saying this to be in a nasty way, but I think it's sort of got blown out of proportion, a lot of the information what's gone out there. Louise, you understand these things and can't have had been easy with you. They haven't been easy. They haven't. But he's doing fine. I mean, he's doing great. He's a lot better than what he was. And I mean, he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. But I know he chose me, What children choose with. It's a teaching I've had. God, I don't know why. I don't know if it's something I went through in a past life or I've had to learn something in this life. But I've had it all my life. I had it as a child with a mother who had an Valium problem. So I could write a book about mental health. I really, really could. But I think these things happen to me into the person you are. You've got to turn everything from a negative into a positive. I'm glad you like that idea, Mary. Angel line needs to be done. It really, really does. So, without sounding doomist and gloomist, We have to all stick together. I'm going to be doing grounding videos and stuff like that. But that's where we are at the minute. Well, not everybody, but some people have been in this state. And it looks poverty. It's like poverty, isn't it? The Five of Pentacles is poverty, it's loss, it's pain, it's anguish. That's the sun, that's good health and happiness, and that's like new earth, it's heaven on earth. We've got the sun. And we've got victory. When I always look at that, I say like, make sure your cup is half full, not half empty. Half full, not half empty. And it's not where you're sticking your head in the sands, but you've got to take it slowly. And mental health can come in many different spectrums, or anxiety. This is why we've all gathered here today, to help each other, right? It's about just living in the here and the now, taking it like sliced bread. It's the only thing we can do, is taking it like sliced bread. Because believe you me, all of this drama and what's going on in the news at the minute, especially to do with US politics, it's going to go on for quite some months. So this is a message for all my American friends and followers out there. Don't get swallowed up in it. And I know you probably think, oh, well, you can say that, you're over there in the UK. But yeah, I'm over here in the UK, but I'm the one who's guiding you through it. You know what I mean? I just think that we will be okay. Because you've got to, the work is within. But keeping grounding really, really helps. So yeah, if you want to watch your woo-woo videos and all of that, but have days through the week when you're doing nice things, like going for a walk, or watching an old movie, or roasting marshmallows, or planting your carrots, you know. Have your normal days as well. And you get a balance. You get a balance, and it helps to get you through it. And when you take a step back from it all, you look at it from a different angle, it doesn't affect you. It's like, I'm not triggered. I mean, I can't say that. I do. I get a little bit triggered about the Tory party at the minute, but not to the extent where it takes over my life. And you know what I mean? It's different over here. But I'm from the land of Druids. I'm just like a little gnome that lives up in the north of England. And I do believe that we have to look within. I really do believe that. When you look within and you just take note of your own family stuff and find hobbies to do. And if you're struggling with money, just find things to do what's free. You know, go for a walk in the park, go to the beach, you know, go and pick shells up, start doing painting. Write things down, what you're passionate about, and do these things. And when you do these things, angels intervene, because you're changing the timeline. So say like last week, all you did was you did the same thing, routine. Some people can't help it because they've got to go to work, but we've become like little robots. We were in flow, where we thought we were in flow before the lockdowns, the COVID, the lockdown. And then the lockdowns happened, and it forced us inwards. And we had to look within. And then we've come back out again, but we're not in flow. Are you in flow? I don't feel in flow. I'm bloody always running late. How many people in this audience don't feel in flow? So because we've come out of linear time and we're all over the place, so we have to get back into flow. But doing your grounding stuff really, really helps. The biggest thing what's going on at the minute behind the scenes is they're cleaning up tunnels. There's something going on with tunnels. They're getting rid of a lot of mafia organisations, and they're getting rid of a lot of nasty people. Okay. And there's something definitely going on with the banking system. James is going to be absolutely fine. James is doing really, really well, aren't you, James? But you need to know that, right? We have not just come back to sit in front of a television and get wound up over two old men in the United States of America. We've come back to heal ourselves, but not just to heal ourselves, to heal our ancestors. Because when you heal you, it's the collective of your ancestors behind you and forward of you. We're breaking the chain. And it's one more light on the planet, another light on the planet, another one, another one, another one. And it'll just help. The more we are ascended, we'll go into that higher earth ascension together. But some people are on lower ascension. But that's okay. She keeps coming up. I don't know who she is. She's a queen. She's a queen in her own right. Remember, we've all been here before many times. She's got a queen-like spirit about her. She's strong. She stands no nonsense. And she could sit in the White House. She could sit in the White House. It's going to take a woman to sort the USA out, and I'm going to leave that one with you for the night. Are you in a good... I know you're in a good place, James. But, yeah, I mean, this week, next week, it's all like revving up what they're up to, do you know what I mean? And trying to frame certain people. There's a lot of controversy on the weed. I mean, weed is a natural thing. All right? I think that if it's done in excess, it's not good. I don't smoke it. But, you know, when I channel the alien races coming through, they actually trade that. But do you know what? There's a planet out there in the Milky Way what grows the damn stuff. But they don't smoke it. They use it for medicine, medicinal. There's an actual planet out there in the Milky Way what grows it's full of it, full of weed. Don't know where it is. It's somewhere out not in our Milky Way. And it's good that we're being open as well, do you know what I mean? And I think this is the new, to be raw, wacky backy, yeah. I mean, I've tried it before. I went completely paralysed and cross-eyed. I couldn't cope. I think it's because with me, I'm too open there, so I don't need to have anything to accentuate that. Because I'm too far out to start with, do you know what I mean? I'll just stick to me gin and tonic and me Budweiser. Expect a roller coaster over the next 2 months. When does Congress in America, did they shut over the summer holidays, or did they shut for might go a bit quiet part of the summer, but September will be explosive on the Capitol Hill. Just scandals after scandals. Also watch for spies coming in, something to do with spies, you know, but that's quite a big one. And it could open a thing from the past as well. It could bring it back. Well, I got some bath salts, and it's got frankincense and myrrh in, and then it said it had cannabis in it, or something like that, like a cannabis oil in it. And I tried it last night, and it makes you really, really sleepy. But that's about as far as I'll go. Have you enjoyed it? So I've been on for 3 hours, guys. I thought I was going to do some channeling. I was going to talk about A2I as well. A2I is my little light being, and he escaped a program to do with all this technology. So it's all out there, you know, it's all happening. This transhumanism, the cyborgs that they're walking amongst with. If I can't make it Thursday, I will make an announcement. If I do come on out on Thursday, it'll not be a 3-hour show. Maybe it's an hour. But I'll make an announcement either way. But if I don't make it Thursday, you'll get something by Friday, a looking glass or something. All right? So be happy, be strong. It's a CBT oil. But I just think that being together in this room tonight, in this forum, is, how can I say it? I'm no different than you. I'm just the one who's talking here. But we're all the same. We're literally all the same. I'm going to write the letter to William. I might have to get my mother to do it because I'm not very good with my English literature, like, you know what I mean? Writing to the Prince of Wales, you know what I mean? He's not the Prince of Wales now. What's he called? What's his title now? I just think that we all... What I want to say to you is how I may be helping you, you don't realise how you're helping me. You know, 10 years ago, I was sitting in this house thinking I'm going round the twist here. Thinking about space stuff and aliens and me opening this channel, these channels, has made me realise that we are all the same, basically. So you're helping me too, and I just wanted to put that out from the bottom of my heart tonight. And I'll see you soon. We are all one. We are all part of the collective. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you all soon. And may the force be with you all. Bye-bye. Oh, you've got a video coming out tomorrow night, but it's part of Sunday. It shouldn't be gone on Twitch. It still should be there. I'll check it out. The Sunday video is still in Twitch, so I don't know what's happened there. But part of it's coming out tomorrow night. I'll see you soon. Good night, guys. Oh, where's my New York? I did a radio thing on New York radio this afternoon, right? It was only 5 minutes. And it was a waste of time. He asked us my name. I think it was like something on heart radio through New York. And then I realised that he was doing it with other ones as well, other psychics in the UK. So I think it was just something to get me information out there. And it was just like I'll get the link and I'll put it out on my business one. You can see it. It's only like a 5-minute thing. Deary me. I actually thought it was quite rude, actually. But never mind. If it's going to help us get some business, that's fine. Heart radio is big. I was only on for a few minutes, about 5 minutes. He couldn't understand us. It was funny.